Hey, happy Friday, March 20th, 2020. The times we live in, March Madness, a little bit crazy going on. I want to welcome you to one of our, could be many, social corners where we're talking about real estate. I want to welcome Josh Bernard of Home Team Northwest, as well as Bruce McLaughlin of Movement Mortgage. We want to update you as quickly as we get information available about what you guys might have questions on in the real estate market. So I'm going to let Josh take it over.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's quite a different March Madness right now, and we're kind of living through times that many of us have really never seen. So just kind of talking real estate it sounds like we're going to get word today, official announcement that we're going to be on shelter at home starting Monday, which would be the 21st, 22nd, the 23rd, and that's going to be for 14 days. So I'm sure all the definition of exactly what that is and what everybody is supposed to be doing during that time will be coming out with that announcement. But I guess the big thing is, how does that affect real estate? You're looking to buy a house, you're looking to sell a house. What happens with timelines? What happens with closings? What happens with getting keys? All that kind of fun stuff. So we're gonna be kind of going through this kind of as normal, but adapting. So a lot of it is going to be this way. It's going to be social. It's going to be online via Zoom, via Facebook, those types of things. I know for myself right now, we're still going to be working with buyers. We're still going to be listing houses and working with sellers. It's just going to be a little bit different for a little bit.
So Josh, kind of talk about the creative ways that you're handling your clients right now, so you're not missing anything, but always taking care of them in a health manner.
Sure. Well, right now, we don't have the exacts of what we can do. So if we can still show properties, say there's a vacant home and somebody wants to buy, we're just taking precautions with masks, hand sanitizers, gloves, those types of things when we're actually going into a house. And then we're keeping it to one person kind of walking through that house at a time, just to make sure that we're respectful of the homeowner, respectful of the situation, and then respectful for that buyer, so that we're not going to be hopefully infecting or spreading anything along the way. Secondly, for buyers is this meeting is on Zoom. So we're going to also be doing Zoom type meetings where we can get on with a buyer, we can share screens, and we can show them exactly what we see when we're looking at homes, so they can virtually kind of walk through that house and see all the information. On the selling side, we're going to be doing basically the same exact thing as we would do when we walk through a house, but we're going to do that via Zoom. So we'll sit down, we'll go through the whole listing presentation, what we do, answering all the questions, and then we'll actually just do a walkthrough of the house with the seller virtually, so that we know exactly what the house looks like, what the layout looks like, the condition of the home, and then anything that we can do to give advice as to what they should be doing with certain things in their house. And then that way we can give accurate information and not just, hey, I think you should be around here because your house is this many square feet and this many bedrooms. So
and you've got a great video, don't you, on what you can do during this time?
We're putting one together. Yes, we are putting one together. So we're going to have 14 days of solitude and in our homes, and it's going to be a great time to prep your house if you're looking to sell here in the near future, to make sure that those little things that always in the back of your mind, those things get done and it's ready to go on the market here in the coming future.
And why wouldn't a motivated seller be willing to carry their phone around their house if we're in shelter in place and real estate brokers aren't allowed to move back and forth? Why wouldn't they say, yeah, if you want to see my home, I'll just show it and put it on mute, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty simple. All the technology that we have nowadays, it's made for times like this. And we just want to put it to use and make it more and more valuable as we adapt to the times that we're in.
So Bruce, with real estate, so Josh, first of all, you don't think it's coming to a standstill right now. What are you seeing in the marketplace right now?
Well, we're going to, I do think there's an unknown. There is some fear in society right now because of that unknown. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a stagnation that's going to come up as we go through this shelter in place. But the government has done a really, really good job. Whether you like the government or hate the government, they've done a good job in this in regards to making sure that we are set up so that we do not go through another 2008 crash. So I was talking to a couple other people yesterday, some experts in the industry, and this is going to be more like a 9/11 type event where we have a few months of some stagnation and we have a few months of figuring out what's going on. And then the market comes back to life again and really just explodes. So I don't see that it's going to be a long drawn process. It's really just getting over the hump of what the media is saying regarding this virus and getting fear kind of controlled to make sure that people are feeling like they can go out and still do the things that they need to do. Our economy is too good right now. There's too much positive. I do understand, there's been some job loss, but there's also steps in place to make sure that people are still getting money. Taxes have been pushed back. We have the checks that are going to be coming out, the stimulus packages to people. And so I think the economy is just going to pick right back up once we get on the backside of this whole thing.
So if I'm a buyer, I should probably still be online because people are still listing the houses. I mean, I'm getting in my part of the industry, I'm getting orders. I'm getting told, hey, this is going to go live in the listing on Thursday or Friday. So it seems like sellers know that they want as many eyes on their property as possible right now if they're ready to go.
Yeah, it's actually been fairly interesting. I have meetings weekly with agents across the United States. And for our area, especially Pierce, King, Thurston counties, I mean, it is crazy still. People are still putting houses on the market. There's still a decent amount coming on, but buyers are out there. We're still seeing multiple offers on just about everything right now. So the one thing I could say is if you are a buyer, it may be a really good time to look at buying through this shelter in place, because that may stop some of these other buyers that are coming out and looking in the marketplace. And so you may be able to find something where you're competing against less people and may be able to get into a place less than you would, if you had 3-4 offers on the property. So still positives out there right now.
I think that's great. So Bruce, what's happening in the lending world since this has all come about?
It's been a crazy month and a half. For the past month and a half, we've seen the mortgage rates get better and better and better. And it got to a great spot. Everyone's talking about interest rates and the 3 and 2% range. And it kicked off a fury of refinances. And then now with the market and how everyone's seen the stock market crash from a high of, over 35,000 and now it's under 20,000, that's also brought a lot of volatility to the bond market. So the one misconception a lot of people have is the daily Fed funds rate that was cut the other day. That's not tied to your mortgage rates. That is tied to your credit cards, lines of credit, home equity line of credit, different things like that. So that's great for those things, but it doesn't tie to mortgages. So we've had an influx of mortgages. And the problem is with the fear that people brought on with selling off stocks, it's also been a sell-off of bonds, which mortgage bonds is where we get our rates from. And with that sell-off, it's caused rates to move back higher. It's also caused liquidity problems with banks. What liquidity is it allows the banks to do mortgages. Banks don't have the money in the bank, they can't do new loans. So there's some local banks, they're not able to take on new applications.
But if I have an application in process right now, how should I be concerned, or because they've allotted that money, or is it something I need to follow up on and take care of?
It's case by case. It depends on what your loan is. If you have a standard conventional loan, which means a loan under $500,000, you fit into the standard Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines, or you're doing an FHA, VA loan, you're currently in process, you're locked, you're going to be okay. There's just certain things where there's what they call non-QM loans, which are loans that are out of the average and out of the normal. Those are a different story. So those ones usually are just more of investors put money in. Some of those investors are running out of cash. So it is a case-by-case basis. Some banks are having problems where they have too many refinances. There's just too many loans on the book. they can't handle them all, so they're increasing rates dramatically to not take on any new loans. So don't just go to your bank thinking, oh, I'm just going to go to, you know, my local big bank I work with because I do everything with them, and that's what I'm going to get my loan through. And you realize you could be paying a very high fee to use them because they don't want your loan. They don't want it because they have too much business.
So big banks are good because they've got money, but you might not be getting the best rate, huh?
Correct. You could be paying a higher rate. Big banks, little banks. So it's kind of that thing as a small lender like us. We're only a mortgage lender. We only deal with mortgages. We're top 6 in the nation for retail mortgage lending, and we handle everything in-house. So we've been able to work our refinance applications while we're handling our purchase applications still within that 30 to 45-day window. And the biggest slowdown with that is appraisals and what our appraisal turn times are. We're seeing those anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks on appraisals.
And your new slow time, yeah, because that's a question. Are appraisers going to be considered a shelter-in-place essential to run the economy?
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really, really tough one. So we just have to play it by ear and see what happens. We just don't know yet.
So what about rate locks? Because what if I'm in the process and my rate lock is going to expire during shelter-in-place? Could I be at risk of a higher loan?
You'll want to pay for that lock extension. So if you got your loan locked within within 2 weeks and longer, you want to stay in that rate. So you want to pay for the extension. The bank's not going to cover an extension because it's not something that's their problem. It's not the bank's fault. The banks, a lot of them are still working. We're still underwriting loans. We're still we're doing all of our stuff we can do. The delay is going to come from other banks. We're having problems on getting payoffs. We're having problems with appraisers getting things out of our control. We're not going to pay the extension fees and eat those fees because we didn't incur that issue.
So that's a really good point. If you're currently in the process, talk to your broker, talk to your loan officer, and make sure that it might be worth you paying that rate lock because we don't know what's going to happen, right?
Absolutely. And I have people that are trying to reach their bank, their mortgage person. They're calling and calling. They're not getting a call back. Well, some of them just can't take on new business. They're not even calling anyone back. For me, rates are higher right now. So I'm getting everyone to get everything lined up. So where rates come back down lower again, we can lock in that rate and get that refinance done. And we're going conservative. We're locking longer than we need to. So that way we don't run into a problem saying, oh, now we need to extend. So we're making those things longer. When I worked for I worked for a couple of very large banks back in 2009, 10, 11, 12. And we were taking 6 months plus to get a refinance done.
Okay. So if I'm thinking
we're not there, but other banks are right now. These other banks are at 5 to 6 months to get things done right now.
Wow. And that was before COVID-19.
Correct. That was the first talks of it.
So it could be longer than that.
It could be longer than that now because now everyone's working from home. So when you get these big, large banks, their processing's done out of one state. So let's say it's all done out of Arizona or California. So all these processors now are all working from home, trying to figure out how to get these files. When you have a smaller bank like us, it's our team and it's our local team handling everything. We don't have to worry about 500 employees and how everything's being shuffled around. We have our staff in our office, with including loan officers, maybe like 20, 25 people. So we can manage that a lot easier for our clients.
So now's a really good time if you're thinking of buying or refi, get your paperwork done while you're at home, right? Package it all, make it pretty.
And I'll help navigate. So all day I watch the bond markets, just like I'm just kind of like dealing with an investor, stock trader. I'm watching the markets day in and day out. And so we're seeing what they're doing. But if you're thinking you want to wait to watch the market and then react, you're going to be too late.
Yeah. Well, I think, so some people may ask, okay, I'm in the process, I'm under contract. What needs to happen right now, right? I can tell you from the title and escrow side, the good news from our perspective, as we're considered part of the financial institution. So escrow and title is considered an essential business. The good news is, guys, real estate is still moving, as you've heard from Josh and Bruce. We're still doing loans. We're still doing applications. We're still looking at houses. We are kind of pulling this economy through, and we have to close homes. We know people have deadlines and they need to move. Just a couple things briefly, what you've got to expect is, as Bruce said, close in 30 to 45 days. Guess what? It might not happen. It may take longer. Josh has this great form that our local Northwest multiple has created that talks about there may be delays, and both the buyer and the seller need to agree with that. Before I run into what delays I'm seeing, Josh, do you want to cover that form really quickly?
Sure. Basically, the form is anything that is outside of both the buyer and seller's control, which obviously the situation that we're kind of coming into is outside of that, there's going to be extensions. There's going to be timelines that are needed to go further and further. So basically this form just brings the buyer and seller together saying, hey, look, this is basically an act of God type situation. And we're going to do everything we can to close as soon as possible, but we need to come into agreement that we're going to keep this contract still viable and legal. So basically that's all that it's stating, and it keeps us moving forward. So if you are in a situation where you are buying or you're selling a house, you're under contract, talk with your broker and make sure that those timelines don't lapse, to make sure that we can keep this thing going forward for you.
And, you know, I've been doing this a long, long time, and my answer is real estate is about relationships and real scenarios and real problem solving. If people have occupancy issues, or just talk to your broker about the need, find true professionals who know how to problem solve, you know, rent backs, delays, it's going to happen. All of us, all three of us, have gone through the 9/11 as brokers, and it's a little bit, it was scary, and we made it through, you guys. So what am I seeing on the escrow side? What escrow's job really briefly is, we have to order payoffs of current mortgages. We have to order payoffs from homeowners associations. We have to get information on liens and judgments and taxes if the seller or the buyer have that. Here's our problem. We don't know that home property management companies are open. So when we're used to getting something in 3 days or 5 days, it may take us a couple weeks to get a payoff from somebody. Our loan, just as Bruce said earlier, our loan payoffs, we're used to 24 hours, same day. I'm now being told 7 days maybe to get a payoff. And these people are working from home, so the left doesn't know what the right's doing in some of these companies. So if you partner with your escrow broker, lender, we may ask you to do some stuff that's out of the norm, but we're just trying to get the information. After we get the information together, what's happening at county offices? We used to be able to e-record, we can still do that, or run down to the county and record. They're not allowing the public in there anymore. So they're going to the door a couple times a day. We hand packages that need to go in, and that's it. So your closing may be delayed. Your loan officer may say we're released to record. Brokers may be ready to hand you the keys. Just know that the recording office may not get to that recording that day, and that's why certain things are in place. My company, if you're working with a different escrow company, ask them about gap insurance. And what we're doing is, if we're released to record, but the county doesn't get it recorded, the moment we're told we're released to record, we're insuring that property for its title insurance. So ask your escrow company, are they going to do that for you? We all have to hang in together, right, guys? And we just want to be helpful, and don't hesitate to call any of us, right?
Yeah, for real.
Josh, you're going to give all the information?
As we were talking about this market volatility on my side, and this is a little bit different. This is for, you know, people that are doing their loans, and if we're buying, some of us are watching things differently. But right now, we've seen a swing in our market, so it's opened up the day negative. And this is like watching the stock market for anyone else. So this is the charts every day. Every one of these little lines is a day. This market started way down and opened up negative, and this is the equivalent of watching some of your stocks go from, you know, $50 a share and to drop down to 35, and now we've rocketed up almost 200 points for the 2.5 note, 120 for this one. So that could be a move of 0.25% plus in the rate, if not 3/8 of a point in the rate, just within minutes. So
Wow.
it's all over the board. So I'm watching this stuff day in, day out to figure out what's best for my clients and what we need to do. But that's why I talk about the volatility and people sitting back. I don't know how an average home buyer that doesn't work in this business knows. I mean, I deal with financial guys and they don't know. So got to keep a pulse on it all the time.
It's just new information coming in, hour by hour. And so that's kind of the goal, is to get this out to as many people as possible so that we can educate and make sure that they're updated.
Absolutely.
Lisa, if we get somebody in contract, what does earnest money look like right now? How's that deposited? How do we take care of that?
Great question. Great question. So what we really want to do is have you wire funds. So you're going to connect with your closer and get wire instructions, and then you can wire from your bank. Banking institutions are essential, so they'll be open. The other thing is, if you have earnest money, please contact your closer, and different companies will they may arrange a pickup. They may have you come in for an appointment just to drop the check in. Remember, all of the goal is safe distancing and making sure that we're not spreading COVID-19 to each other. So earnest monies, we can do that. We are strongly encouraging wire, but we have to be careful for wire fraud. You probably wonder on mobile notaries, am I going to be able to sign my documents? How is that going to work, right? Mm-hmm. There's different ways to do that. Some people are doing virtual notaries, which is a great option. Other people are having the notary come to their house. The notary is literally going on the phone with people and doing the packaging. Some people are more comfortable coming to an office. I will tell you, lots of offices are being sterilized. We're minimizing exposure. We're not handing out pens to people. We're happy for you to bring your own. And we're in a conference room for safe distancing. So these things are occurring. What I love about the human experience is we're all smart and we all are creative problem solvers. So tell your broker and your loan officer and your closer what your comfort level is, and let us work with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those times we just have to adapt, and we got to work together, buyers, sellers, everybody, title, escrow, lenders. So have a little patience. We're getting through this, and we're learning on the curve. We're changing as we have to make sure that we can help everybody out there. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. We're probably not going to be shaking hands anytime soon or meeting anytime soon, but
virtual
if you have a question, text me, call me. My phone number is 253-677-5765. Bruce?
And what's great about it on the mortgage side is the majority of almost everything we can do online. So, we can do video chats, we can do a Facebook chat, we can, there's all these different things we can use and tools we can use. So don't be afraid of doing an application. You can start it now, and we do everything online.
Bruce, what's your number?
253-651-5755.
Perfect. And we'll be, all of us have Facebook pages, business pages. We want to provide you with great information. You can always look us up. I'm Lisa Schultz with Chicago Title, 253-241-6317.
Perfect.
All right. Off we go.